Good afternoon, good morning. Hello, everybody. I'm Louis Amestoy, the host of the Bako Motorsports Power Hour, brought to you by John Farrand.
John
Farrand's running in here.
That's nice.
Do we have a guest?
Sure.
Is that our guest? Who's that? Is
Well,
that our
I think our guest, you're here and King Louis is
I'm
here.
here. King Louis is here. Mike
Yeah.
Griffith's over there in the corner.
couldn't be
John
better.
Farrand's in here adjusting cameras, but there's King Louis. Actually, that could be representative for the ultimate in people, the one and only Tom Mocht.
Well, and it's funny, I forgot to send it to you. I shot some video of Tom Mocht out at Pocono Speedway, which I was going to put on the show. Maybe I'll save it for next week.
Really?
It was daylight. I was still blinded by his flash.
That guy's got a flash that's like a laser. It's like a cannon. It looks like something out of Star Wars when like they fire the ion laser. All right, well, listen, this is the Bako Motorsports Power Hour brought to you by the Bakersfield, California. I'm Louis Amestoy, your host, and I'm joined by Mike Griffith, Grumpy Griff. I've been gone for 2 weeks.
And what a fun time it was.
I know, and we have not been on the same show together in almost a month. So that's incredible.
I think that says something.
That does say something.
I mean, and we had a lot of fun last week, and we're going to have a lot of fun this week.
We got Ricky Childers Jr. coming in. We're going to talk to him about his. He at one point in the season, he was up in Hanford. He had a kind of a longer kind of like hairstyle, and then the next week he was like shaved completely. And so we'll talk to him a little bit about his hair. There's kind of a funny picture that Tom Mock sent of him as well.
Yeah, and he's got some hockey playoff growth beard going on now.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
I've seen Ricky since he was racing as a youngster, so he's
Is he going to be your driver of the week, your Griff's driver of the week?
I think so. I mean, that was a spectacular sport mod race. We'll talk about it later, but that was just a lot of fun to watch.
Sport mod race over Bakersfield Speedway. We got Kern County Raceway Park coming up here at 11:15 to talk a little bit about what they've got going on this last weekend and coming up this weekend. Now, you're going to be there this weekend, right, Griff?
Yeah, I'm going to go out there, twin 35-lap late model races. I haven't been out to KCRP in a couple of weeks, so go out there and check out the late models and see what's going on. All
right, so late model action out at KCRP this weekend. We also have Blake Bowser in our third segment. They're actually getting ready, not this weekend. This is their last weekend of sort of inactivity, although you never know what's going on out there. There might be something happening. We're going to see ANRA coming back next weekend. So maybe we'll have Butch Hedrick in here the weekend after. It's a hint to Mr. Bowser, who I think is in the green room right now. But we'll talk a little bit about that. And by the way, this is show number 16, I think. I may be wrong about that. It might be show 17. 16, 17, it's all the same. It's running
That's
into
two.
Show 16. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook. Or like us on Facebook. We have Instagram, which I need to update. I haven't updated that. I was gone for a couple weeks. I drove by Texas Motor Speedway, by the way, Griff, in Fort Worth.
Yeah, that's a big track.
That is a big track. Oh my gosh! You're kind of impressed like Fontana, but man, when you see that thing, that is huge.
Yeah,
and then the dirt
Texas
track
is a mile and a half.
That's incredible.
And Fontana's a 2 mile.
Well, the grandstands at Texas. Have you ever covered a race there?
No, I've never been to Texas.
All right, that's a big track.
Well, I've never been to Texas race Speedway.
Well, we drove down through. We had to drive down through from Oklahoma City to Fort Worth, and drove by it, and I was like, "Wow, that thing is impressive." It's just massive. You're like, "What is that?" That's Texas
That's
Motor
where
Speedway.
the IndyCar race on Saturday night. That I did not see it, but Scott Dixon won, so he becomes the second two-time winner this season. 9 IndyCar races and 7 different winners.
Wow. Well, at least they're competitive, I guess.
Yeah, Juan Pablo has 2 wins.
All right, so don't forget we're on Twitter and on YouTube. So give us a call. But the Great Babe car, I love that car.
Yeah, that's a nice car.
That's a nice looking car. All right, moving on now, and these are our nominees for this week's Grumpy Griff Awards, and it looks pretty good. So you got Kiersey, Brock Thompson, Kevin Collier, Cabe McClenny, Johnny Bedingfield, Gary Dutton, Derek Thorne, Cale McClenny, Tyler Smotherman, Ricky Childress Jr., Eric Stump, Doug Shepard, Perrin Kuster. Boy, this list will be really long in a couple weeks when we have the ANRA guys in here, because we're going to have a lot of locals in that particular event.
Yeah, the list will grow a little longer then, and maybe but might be a track dark that night. So
No, that's true. That's right. That's the week before. We'll figure that out, but we'll get to it. So that's going to be later on this afternoon. We'll announce that winner. And Martin Truex Jr. winning at Pocono, but Kevin Harvick finished second. Mike Griff, did you get a chance to watch this race?
Yeah, I watched it Sunday evening. And Harvick had a fast car on long runs. He had a little different gearing in there than Truex, so he wasn't that good on restarts. And it got down to the end of the race, and a yellow flag produces more yellow, so he had a bunch of short little spurts, and he couldn't keep pace with Truex on the restarts, and Truex got the win. Harvick said if you have to lose to somebody, that's a good guy to lose to. He was pretty happy. And good win for Furniture Row Racing, a non-Carolina-based team. They're based out of Colorado, and really good win for that team.
Kevin Harvick, though, has been he's just been on fire as far as being in the top 5. And let's take a look at this note here with Harvick. Yeah, his second place, he's had 9 second-place finishes this season. And so, again, at Pocono, Dover, the All-Star race on the 15th, going back all the way to Daytona on the 19th, all those second-place finishes. I mean, this season's been pretty remarkable, really.
If that carries into the final 10 races of the season, that's what wins championships.
Yeah.
Wins would be nice. But if nobody else is getting a bunch of wins and he can continue finishing seconds in top 5s, that's how you win points.
And even his worst performance of the season, which I think was at Bristol, where he finished because it had that accident late in the race. He dominated that race for most of it. He had 190 laps led in that race. I mean, it's some crazy number of laps, 130 laps. I think
that team's good. He just said things just aren't falling in place right now for the wins. It had Pocono stayed green flag for the last 30 laps, Truex wasn't going to hold him off, but it did not, so there you go.
So he finished second at Pocono. He's still first in the Sprint Cup standings. Casey Mears had a pretty good weekend, 16th at Pocono, 20th in the Sprint Cup standings. And then coming up, they're going to be at Michigan. Then they have a little bit of a break before they go to Sonoma. And then Daytona back for I think that's one of the big 4th of July weekend race. And then in Kentucky in July 11th. And so road course race on the 28th.
Yeah, I kind of like that. And interesting enough, I'm off that week, and I was thinking about going up to the Napa Valley, and I was thinking, why are all these hotel rooms? Why is everything booked? And I said, oh, yeah.
Sonoma.
NASCAR race.
All right. Let's take a look at Ryan Reed. He was 11th in this last race at Dover. And he was 8th in the Xfinity standings. Actually, Harvick won one of these. I don't know. Actually, Harvick's number 1 in the standings. But 11th at Dover. I think that's one where he beat Harvick. And 8th in the Xfinity standings. So he's still kind of just mid-pack right now.
Yeah, I think if I'm correct, it is off the top of my head that Ryan and his teammate Chris Buescher, who just won Dover, are the only 2 full-time Xfinity Series drivers to win this year.
That's right, because the Cup guys come down and race things. All right, what else is going on in the world of motorsports, Mr. Griffith? What have I missed?
What's going on? Oh, they had a little Formula One race in Canada, Grand Prix of Canada on Sunday, and Lewis Hamilton got the pole and led from start to finish, beat his teammate Rosberg by about 3 or 4 seconds, so the Mercedes can't be touched. And Hamilton, interesting enough, Hamilton threw away a race a couple weeks ago at Monaco where he led, and then a safety car came out, and for whatever reason, Hamilton went into the pits with like a 26-second lead, and whether it was his doing or his team's doing, thought you could get in and out before the second and third place cars came by, but nope, he came out third, so he threw away the Monaco Grand Prix race.
And in Englishtown, New Jersey, the NHRA was running their event, and Antron Brown beating Brittany Force in the top fuel side of things at 318 miles an hour. Give us your thoughts on what's going on in the NHRA these days.
Yeah, I didn't see that race at all. It was on late, and I taped it and never got around to watching it. And then Matt Hagan won, so I think that's interesting. It's all building up for their chase as well. You want to win, you want to be in the top 10 in points, you want to be running well. But certainly Antron Brown winning is no surprise, is Matt Hagan.
Matt Hagan and Alexis DeJour, I mean, that was a close, tight race. It was the ET on that one is 4.132 to 4.138. So
yeah, that's pretty good.
And
Alexis is running well this year, and Jack Bettman, I don't know when he went out in the round by round, but He had really set some records before Kansas.
Well, I
in the
mean,
previous
Hagen
race,
had
so
to beat Caps in the semis, and DeJora beat Del Worsham.
There you
so
go.
a couple of our guys that we talked about all season long. All right, we got a lot to get to. Coming up next, Kern County Raceway Park. Steve Hughes will be here. Stevie Hughes, haven't seen him in a couple weeks, so good to see him as well. Glad to be back in the chair here with my good friend Mike Griffith, and we'll be right back with more here on the Bako Motorsports Power Hour.